Hi friends, your pal Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about American politics, and we're going to talk about Stephen Colbert and Stephen Colbert getting canceled. All right, so this has been all over the airwaves, man. People have been talking about this, and well, they should. This is big news, right? So, what happened here? So the question that people are like, "Hey, I think Stephen Colbert got canceled because he made fun of President Trump." Um, I don't think that's the reason he got canceled. I think the reason that Stephen Colbert got canceled is that he is the first virtual wounded on the Hollywood US government battlefield, right? And a virtual battlefield. All right, so what do I mean by that? Well, first of all, I think one thing that people have been like, okay, here's a good example. Dan Morell, he does charts for movie box offices. The moment this story broke, he immediately said, jumped in and did a whole video about it, and then also said, I think South Park's in trouble, and I think one other show was in trouble. Like he's like, these are not going to survive. And he was talking really in-depth politics. Grace Randolph, fantastic movie reviewer. I really love her stuff. And what I thought was really interesting was she increasingly has been just talking about politics nonstop. And the reason why is, I think, here's the problem. Hollywood has been in the business of making policy and law for decades. Like, it's been just left and right, right? And I honestly believe that Joe Biden was removed as a presidential candidate because George Clooney got upset. I think George Clooney had a $30 million fundraiser for him, talked to him and realized, oh my gosh, he cannot finish sentences, right? And he was shocked like the rest of the country because we have been assured by the Democrats, oh, trust and believe. Not only can he speak sentences, but he can also read documents and sign them. And George Clooney was like, well, wait a second. He clearly could not speak a sentence. He could not listen to me and then speak a corresponding sentence. And he was upset. And I think he called Nancy Pelosi, and he literally ended a presidency, right? Like a presidential run, right? That's how deeply involved Hollywood is, in my humble opinion. I think that's dead on correct. And what I just talked about has been openly discussed by major podcasters. That's not just some like fringe theory you just heard from me. Like, this was very much discussed, right? And so so the reality is, Hollywood has been deep in the business of making policy and law for a long time, right? And then you're like, well, wait a second, y'all's were never elected, right? Like, and you weren't chosen by anyone either. So what are you guys doing? And I think it just reached a point where Americans were like, nah, man, this is too much. And so at that point, it got to the point where people were like, hey, this has got to get fixed, right? And so this is the U.S. government saying, yo, y'all's going to step on our toes? Guess what? You going to get your toes stepped on too, right? And I do believe that Stephen Colbert was fired because of Donald Trump. I don't think Donald Trump ever said to anybody, fire Stephen Colbert. I think it was just known that you would get a lot of goodwill if you fired Stephen Colbert. And I think, and the reality, and I wish, I'd love to say that he should have had more protection, right? But the reality is, I don't think he should have. And the reason why is they have not been just like, Hollywood has not been in the business, oh, we're going to make some skits, we're going to say some funny things, we're going to blah. They've been up in it, like millions and billions of dollars of funding. Like, they're in it. They are in it, right? And you don't get to walk on the battlefield. You don't get to walk on the virtual battlefield safely, right? And this is my issue, is like, if you're going to be this involved in policy and law, trust and believe there's going to be some virtual wounded. Like, there's no two ways about it. And make sure you understand he is virtually wounded. This is not a virtual casualty, right? Like, he's going to be just fine, right? The other thing I think is interesting is the idea that this show should have been on any major like network. Stephen Colbert's stuff, he had every right to have his show, but not there. Like, his show should have been mine. Like, put that stuff on YouTube, right? That is not like, this is Johnny Carson's show, right? Like, the idea that you're going to put stuff that would be just outrageously galling to the vast majority of Americans on some major news network, or actually on not a news, on a major entertainment network, and that you don't have any like any duty to make entertainment that will be generally appealing to Americans, is pretty galling, right? Like, so I don't think I don't think anything that shouldn't have happened. Everything that happened, I think that's just fine. I have no problems with what happened. And if Hollywood wants to fix this, then step back, stop getting involved, stop putting your finger on the scale, right? But if you're going to walk on the virtual battlefield, trust and believe you're going to get some virtual wounded. It's the way it is. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.